recently I've had a nice long month off work, and honestly, I've never been fucking happier. Just not having to wake up at fucking 8 in the morning, not having to get screamed at by some dickhead on the phone. It's honestly, it's been great. Had a lot of time to just relax, look back at what I've done over sort of the past year, and so I've not really had this much time off in about that long, and it kind of dawned on me like, shit, I haven't actually done a lot. And I blame that solely on my job. And for reference, I work in a call centre, an insurance one, but I'm not going to exactly say which one, just on the odd chance one of those dickheads somehow finds this channel. Don't exactly fancy getting sacked over, some pointless shit. But, working in a call centre, and this is the second one I've worked in for reference, we're looking at like a combined total of 5 years. There's a cycle, a very clear cycle. Now, for reference, before I delve into this, I've worked in other shit. I've worked retail, security, just randomly. I remember COVID. I was a COVID tester. That shit was fantastic. I missed that job. But one thing that I've seen in those lines of work in comparison to call center is the difference in what I'm about to discuss here. Now, with the other work, sort of like retail and stuff, even hospitality, you're not going to progress in those unless you're actually good at the job. And you can sort of choose if you are good or not. For example, you're not going to get promoted to head chef if you can't cut a fucking onion. It's just 6 and 2 freezer. You have to just be able to do the basics and fundamentals. But call centre work is so much fucking different, and it's because of the people that are already in there. Stage 1. This is a stage that everyone goes through, and it happens for every job. And it's what I refer to as the greener pastures sort of stage. If you think of Red Dead 2, that fucking second chapter, everyone's going into Horseshoe Overlook, everyone's having a good time, you're drinking with Lenny. That's essentially what stage 1 is. So normally when applying to call centre, your back's against the wall, let's be honest. No one wants to sit in a fucking office for 12 hours a day, 6 to 12 anyway, and take calls all day if they didn't fucking need to, let's be honest. So at that point, you get your text or email saying, congrats, you've passed your interview, we'd love to have you on. And at that point, you're just fucking relieved to be employed. You're relieved to have some form of an income coming in. You don't care how it is. Hell, you were like 2 weeks away from slanging your ass on OnlyFans or something. But, you're just happy. You're relieved. Your bird's happy. Your family's happy. You're happy you're not going to be homeless in like fucking 2 months. Like, times are good. And you've heard all of the speeches that they've gave. The interviewers seem really nice. You go into the naivety mindset of like, well, if the interview is nice, surely everyone else is, because you need the job. You're not looking for an excuse not to get some money in. Then you go in for the very first time, and at least in my case, the call centre that I worked in the first time, the office was, it was alright. Like, it wasn't anything special. It was just a big building rented in the middle of a town centre, and you just fucking go in there, regular office, just a load of desks and computers. When I went to mine for the very first time at the one I work now, this is going to put in perspective how down bad call centre workers really are, at least in the UK. I got amazed that there was a fucking water cooler. When they told me you can stand up, go fill up your cup, your fucking bottle, getting a nice cold beverage. Hell, you can even go down the fucking hallway and go make yourself a cup of tea or coffee. My mind exploded. And it was at that point I believed all of the stereotypical script that they give. We're a big family here. Like, we all really love each other. We support each other. We're like one big happy friend group outside of work. And, when I seen all of this, like, even the littlest perks, because call centre work, you go in expecting the worst. It's always like World War fucking II in there. It's never a fun time for anyone involved. So when you see something as little as accessible water next to your desk, you're like, holy shit, like, maybe these guys actually do care about us to some degree, but let's be honest, that the cracks do start to come a little bit later on, and we'll touch on that shortly. Stage 2, blindness. And I call it blindness because that's exactly what you are at this point in time. Whenever you join any job, you're just blind to the full reality. Now, at least within my call centre, when you're new to that role, you have literally next to no responsibility. Your main responsibility at that point is just logging on and showing that you're online on Microsoft Teams. Wiggle the mouse every 10 minutes and you could probably get away with it, in all honesty. Like, there's just no responsibility. Nobody knows who you are. So you can get away with a lot more shit. It's not like somebody's going to see your name pop up after you've just shot them a mad complaint over the phone that you definitely could have dealt with 2 years in, by the way, and I still fucking do that at this job. Fuck complaints. I ain't paid enough to deal with that shit. But, you know, you can get away with that because nobody can turn around and put a face to the name because you're that new. And as a result of you being new, you've got so much more leeway to make mistakes. You could, when I first joined, my best friend that I met there, on the first week of us being on the new team, the guy did not ask one security question, cancelled the guy's full insurance policy for his house, and the guy literally got a meeting and they just laughed about it. Like, if I seen anyone who done that now that's been there about 2 years plus, holy shit, you're gone. Like, that's GG, bro, game over. But because you're new, they can laugh it off as just a hee silly little mistake, and that's what I mean by blindness. You aren't susceptible to the reality of what the main consequences are because they're expecting you to actually just be shit. In essence, the best way I can describe it, think of a BBC journalist in a war zone. How they've got the press fucking badge all over them, except in Israel, they're obviously, you know, no combat at all, like everyone avoids them. We've seen it, like that's kind of what it is. Everyone just avoids you because they know that you don't really have any stake in this. Like, you're literally new to the scene and just catching up in terms of what's going on. Because of this, you've got a false sense of security. When I first joined mine, the most I'd done for at least about a good 7 months was I would take payments over the phone. You would ring up, you would give me your card details, and I would take the payment to clear off any bills that were missed on there. It was as simple as that. I did that for 8 hours a day. And at that time, I was like, this is great. I don't do anything. I've not been thrown in head first. Like, I've been well prepared for this. And you've obviously got your training period during this time that normally takes about a month to 2 months. So you've got 2 months of employment there where you're just sitting doing nothing. It's honestly fantastic. But then we go to stage 3. Stage 3 is summed up by the GIF that I'll put on the screen now. And it's what I call the jester stage. It's the best way I can describe it. So by the jester stage, you're normally about 3 to 6 months in. And the best way to put it is you've normally passed your probationary period. You can no longer be sacked for missing 2 days. You actually have some employment rights. You're kind of somewhat of a regular now. People know who you are. They can put your face to the name whenever they see you pop up. You're having a bit more of a conversation with other people you're transferring calls to for different departments because you've been there long enough to know them now. You realise at this point, because you've been trained on all the other departments, at least in my experience, I went from doing payments to servicing policies in terms of just adjusting cover levels and whatnot, to then setting up brand new quotes that had been done online. I was taking them out over the phone with customers, and then I was also renewing policies. And one thing stayed the same throughout all of that, and that was my pay. I wasn't getting paid. I wasn't given any extra incentive to do this. And that was the first real big crack, because within 6 months I've went from absolutely loving life, having about 20 minutes between calls, having some of the loveliest people on the phone, to having Gerald, 76, from fucking Brighton, screaming at me because his home insurance renewal has went up by £20. £20, it's never that fucking deep. But for some reason, the public just act like it is. And on a side note, anyone that works in an insurance call centre, regardless if that's home, car, pet, mobile, whatever, we all know Martin Lewis is an enemy of the fucking state. The guy comes up with so much misinformation that I have to deal with because your grandma can't be asked to Google anything simple about anything. I can't even put into words how infuriating Martin Lewis fucking is. I'm sure he's a lovely guy. I'm sure he's really nice. I'd maybe get a pint with him kind of thing. But fuck you, Martin. Just stop chatting shit on ITV, please, I beg you. Because I'm the cunt that has to deal with it the next day. When Iran kicked off, holy shit. Because this guy goes on and he's like, oh, everything's going to go up. I'm getting calls off Mary, who lives in fucking Bristol, asking if Iran bombs her house, is she covered? Mary, you're going to be dead if a ballistic missile hits you. Like, bro, come on, your priorities are just so backwards. Like, this is the shit we deal with. This is what I was on about earlier with the cracks starting to form. You've been there long enough to have a couple of these stupid conversations. And the first time it happens, you're like, oh, maybe not everyone's that stupid. Spoiler alert, about 95% of the British public are that fucking stupid. They will believe anything they read on Facebook. It's fucking insane. Like, I can't put into words how stupid they are. At this point, though, it goes one of two ways here. And I'm going to delve into way number one first. And this is personal experience. This is actually what happened to me. So, within call centres, if you're competent enough to be able to log onto a computer, speak to people clearly, not shout at someone down the phone and tell them to fuck off or like punch a monitor in rage. That's a true story. Someone actually got recalled permanently back into office for breaking 2 monitors because he was that pissed off at someone over the phone. It's a bit fucking stupid. When you're that competent, and I say that with air quotes because, as I say, you can do just about the bare minimum. You look fantastic in comparison to the rest of the Donnies there. Like, it's a joke. Because most of them it's a good 50-50 split of all the people that have been there for a while don't really have any interest in moving on up. They just want to keep doing what they're doing on their set hours and shit, which is fair. And the other half is young people, normally fresh out of college or just out of university, who just don't really want to be there anyway. So they don't choose to do any of this shit. But then when you're at the level of competent, you get pulled into one of those meetings. And it's them trying to upsell you on doing this extra work, as extra duties of either training someone new, managing a team, helping out with a back office role, doing something completely different. And you kind of feel obliged, and this goes for any fucking workplace anywhere. When you get sat down by a manager and they look you in the eyes and we're like, oh look, you're really good, we think you've got like a lot of promise, maybe a potential chance at a career out of this, like we want you to do this because you're suited to you. It's one of those where they guilt trip you into it by praise, to the point where if you turn around after they've just hyped you up for like 10 minutes and go, nah, I don't want to do this, you feel and you kind of look like a dick. Like, it's one of those, unfortunately. It's a double-edged sword. So you kind of feel obligated to do it, and that's what I done in my case. In my case, I got pulled for training and also management. And like, holy shit, I felt like a corporate monkey. And again, that jester gif will come up here, because you're kind of just doing the fucking jester dance to the corporate monkeys. Like, it's a fucking joke. One day I came in, got pulled off the phones doing just my basic job, get slung into a training room, expected to train like 15 new people on the basics of the job. The company then didn't have a manager in place. This is a multi-million-pound corporation, guys. Like, they didn't even have one guy there who was prepared to be a manager. So they're like, you know what, fuck it. We'll give it to the guy who's been here for like 8 months and has been a manager in the past in a completely separate role. That was me. I was just flung into it. No training. They gave me a nice little laptop and they were like, go make calls, help everyone, do all of these management things. You've got meetings like 4 times a month. Like, bro, what? Like, I don't know anything what I'm doing here. No one's told me anything. I don't even know who I report to at this point. And they have a habit of doing this. They'll just throw you in because the turnover rate is so fucking high that they can't bring in enough people to kind of supply the demand. It's a bit of a joke with call centres, because the task is so fucking meaningless. It's like banging your head against a brick wall every single day for 8 hours. A lot of people go within the first like 6 to 8 months, and in all honesty, I don't blame them. I kind of wish I had done the same thing as a lot of people I joined with have already done. They've all fucking gotten out and they're already so much happier for it. Option number 2 is the opposite as to what I done, which is where you turn down this fake opportunity. And at that point, you kind of get a invisible target put on your back, if you will. So at that point, the way that the corporate guys kind of hear it is, okay, this guy, he wants to be a foot soldier, or she loves speaking to the public. Like, they expect you to be the boots on the ground and sharp at all times, 110% effort, never complain about anything. You are the role model, essentially. They need you to essentially be the guinea pig to test everything out, test the waters, test how people are feeling on that day before everyone else comes in. Like, you are going to receive the most brunt of the shit, essentially. That comes in to like targets and shit like that. At least with mine, we've got like stats, call markings every month. Every, like, the call centres I've worked at, pretty standard. People I know who work in other ones, also pretty standard for them. And with that, like, there's extra pressure. I remember once after I came off it, I got a broadly in line instead of an outstanding. Bearing in mind, broadly in line is good, that you're doing exactly what you need to, but you're just not going above and beyond to sell extra shit. Bearing in mind, you don't get any commission for that, so there's no incentive to do that. You still get paid the same, regardless if you do that or not. Obviously, I'm not going to do the extra work. Minimum effort for minimum wage. That's words that I fucking live by, in all honesty. After you get that sort of reputation, you're then sort of the scapegoat for everything. If your team's underperforming, it's because they've got the spastic on the team, which is you. I've been in meetings when I was on like my sort of team leader stint, where I've seen managers throw people under the bus for the simplest of mistakes. And I know, because I've heard them speak about it in said meetings, that the only reason they're picking on them and only ever using their examples is because they don't like them, because they didn't help them out at their time and need. Bear in mind, most managers won't fucking help you out when you need them anyway. Like, a lot of them just don't give a shit, because obviously they're in their own circle. They've got their own clique and shit, if you will. It's kind of like High School Musical and shit. You got the jocks and the nerds and the fucking popular group. Like, it's just so fucking stupid, man. By this point, you know that management's stupid. You've been in the role long enough to realise that the general public are fucking stupid. Like, it's one of those, like, imagine dealing with your grandparent, trying to connect them onto an iPad after they've only just upgraded from the landline. It's like that, but times 7 billion, and they're on crack cocaine. It's stupid. I've had people threaten to come down and fucking stab me up. 80-year-old people threatening to come and have a fight with me because I can't get like a fiver off of shit. And as we've mentioned, Martin Lewis, I can't even. That's its own separate video in its own right, in all honesty. But now we're in stage 4, and this is what I refer to as the spec off stage, or the planning stage, or the action stage, something along those lines, but spec ops just sounds a lot cooler, to be honest. So by this point, you're done in, and that's kind of the point that I'm at now. You know that it's not going to get better, you know that the job's shit, and you know for the sake of yourself that you need to get out of it, because fuck me, why would you stay? So you've got essentially one of two options. Option 1 is the simple option. You look for another job, you have the interview elsewhere, secure the employment, bounce, everything's good, work your notice, you're happy, they're happy, jobs are good. Option 2, however, is one that I've seen 2 people at my current workplace do, and it's an option that I'm very, very fond of, and I'm going to put you guys on it. So these guys, I'm not going to name them by names, but we'll just call them B and R, their first initials. These guys, one of them, B in specific, was on my team, and there was a good stint of about 3 months where I had to manage this guy because my manager went off and I was a designated cover. This guy was call avoiding for a good like 6 to 7 months, and by call avoiding, the guy would slog on at say 9 o'clock in the morning, ready to work at 9 to 5. And the guy would answer the phone and he would go, "Hello? Hello? Can you hear me there? Hello?" And he would do this for every call for about 30 to 40 seconds and would just proceed to hang up the phone. Now, this happens a lot. Don't get me wrong. The tech we use is awful. Sometimes the microphone cuts out. Sometimes the call system, you can't hear anyone through, but they can hear you, vice versa. But these guys, you could hear them on the call. He was conversating with them, And then he would just be, oh, I can't hear you no more. And this guy done that, as I say, for around 6.5 months. And the guy only got sacked after 6 months. The reason he got sacked is because they couldn't mark a call for 3 months. So this guy had 3 months of them knowing that he was avoiding doing his job, and they did just let it slide. And 6 months in total of not doing his job. That's half a year pay for just logging on. And this is one that I wouldn't necessarily recommend, but it's one that's very fucking appealing, and one that I personally might start dipping into if I can't find another bit of employment within the next couple of months, in all honesty. But it's one of those, like we've mentioned at the start, employment's employment. So you're happy just to have a job, especially in today's fucking economy and the way that the world's going. But at what point is it worth losing your fucking sanity over? I'd like to get your guys' opinions. Let me know down in the comments below. Anyone else that's worked in a call centre or does currently, let me know your thoughts on this. Is there anything that I've missed out? But enjoy the rest of your evening or day, whatever it is that you guys are doing. Drop a like, subscribe if you want, or don't. That's completely up to you guys. But enjoy the rest of your time. Take care.